Well, good evening, everybody. It is my pleasure tonight, indeed, to introduce Howard Forman to you, one of this year's recipients of the Staff and Alumni Outstanding House Officer Award. As Program Director in Psychiatry, I have had the opportunity to closely supervise Dr. Forman since he began his training with us 3 years ago. I have been consistently impressed with his tireless work ethic, his thoughtfulness, and his concern for others, his energy, and his sheer passion for all aspects of his work. Dr. Forman's extraordinary enthusiasm, dedication, and compassion is always evident, whether it be in his care of patients, his teaching and supervision of medical students and residents, or in his relationship with his colleagues. Dr. Forman is the kind of resident that you always want to have on your team. He takes initiative, he is always willing to extend himself beyond what is required, and he brings a joie de vivre to the work he's doing that is infectious and enhances the experience of everyone who works with him. Whether it is his willingness to schlep in from the city on a day off to cover an on-call shift at the 11th hour when no one else would step up to the plate, or the energy he is devoting to nurturing the growth and development of our training program, Dr. Forman is always there, ready to help, ready to lend a hand, and ready to bring new and exciting ideas to the table. Dr. Forman is also a talented journalist and has used this skill to produce eloquent, humorous, and thoughtful reflections about the work he is doing, as well as larger issues that affect psychiatric training, education, and clinical work. To date, he has had several columns published in the Residence Corner column of the Psychiatric Times, the most widely read psychiatric newspaper in the country. Some of his titles include Savage Psychiatry, the Psychotherapy Groupon, Have I Got a Deal for You, and my personal favorite, Happy 70th Birthday, Dad. In this latter one, Howie pays tribute to his father, also a psychiatrist. Dr. Forman has been passionate about teaching and education since his arrival in our program, and this year he was selected to be the Chief Resident of Medical Education. He's involved in the daily administration and management of the third-year psychiatry medical student clerkship. And in this role, he's been instrumental in the teaching, evaluation, and oversight of each medical student's experience during their rotation. In addition, Dr. Forman serves as a member of the teaching faculty at Einstein for the first-year medical student course, the Introduction to Clinical Medicine. His track record teaching and supervising medical students has been remarkable, and he has received superb evaluations from the medical students with whom he's worked. I'm just going to give you a few little snippets from some of the evaluations because they're really amazing. So one student wrote, Dr. Forman is the most valuable mentor and teacher I have had over the course of my clerkships. Not only did he take the time to meet with me to discuss my career, my experience during the rotation, and to provide feedback, but he also offered extremely well-organized lectures. I learned a tremendous amount from Dr. Forman and truly appreciate my experience with him. Another student wrote, Dr. Forman organized a review session for us on his own time. I was amazed by his compassion and effort for the teaching. I wish all residents were like him. And finally, another student wrote, Dr. Forman is one of those special resident doctors who make third year a real valuable and special experience. He is humorous and humble, inspired and inspiring towards others. He is a stunning example of why we want to be doctors when we grow up, and why one should consider psychiatry as well. I really cannot say enough. I'm extremely pleased to hear that he's continuing to become more involved in medical education. I can't think of a better person for the job. And just so you should not think that these sentiments are limited to the medical students with whom he works, I'll give you one little snippet from one of his supervisors. One supervisor wrote, Howard's many strengths include his passion about psychiatry and his desire to serve the best interests of his patients and always to provide the best possible care, which he does consistently. His clinical management of his patients is superb. So in closing, I know that many of my colleagues, as well as residents and patients, would agree with my assessment that Dr. Forman is truly a mensch, defined as a person of integrity and humor, a good person, a better human being. His level of commitment, caring, and willingness to serve in many spheres make him beyond a doubt deserving of this outstanding House Officer Award. So.
Thank you very much, Dr. Weiss. This week, I had the opportunity to join one of my attendings at the new production of Death of a Salesman. And at the play, after Willie Loman has died, Biff Loman at the funeral says, he had the wrong dreams, all wrong. He had the wrong dreams, all wrong, in speaking about his father. In the last 10 or so years, first at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, and then at Montefiore Medical Center, I've had the opportunity to work with people whose dreams are all right. They're all right. They are about relieving suffering, relieving pain of people regardless of, and you can put anything into that blank, regardless of blank, period. And that's a wonderful dream. And I thank the two institutions for the opportunity to spend the beginning of my professional career and my professional education there. One of those visionaries is the chairman of my department, Dr. Karasu. There are many people who undoubtedly deserve thanks tonight, who I, just because of time limitations and my own mistakes, I'll forget to thank by name. But in thanking Dr. Karasu, who's a prolific author, written extensively on psychotherapy and one of the leading psychotherapists in the country. But he also runs a tremendous department, and he has put the perfect people in the perfect roles within our department. And I'm going to thank many of those people. And Dr. Karasu, thank you so much for creating such a wonderful department to be a resident in. Thank you. Dr. Weiss, who I can't thank enough for those comments, has been a wonderful, wonderful program director. When I was applying to the program and I asked her, I said, well, can you tell me something about the people in this department that I might not know? And she actually used the word mensch. She said, the people here are menschy. And that describes them so well. Dr. Weiss does so much work on behalf of the residents that is behind the scenes. You know, it's in her office, it's making phone calls for those of us who have been looking for fellowships and have been on the job market. It's meeting with us whenever we need her, always available. Dr. Weiss, it's been such a pleasure to be a resident under your care, so thank you. From the Division of Consultation Liaison, Dr. O'Dowd, the MC for tonight. Your thirst for knowledge is unquenchable. I enjoy our conversation so much. To Dr. Steve Nicholson, who has supervised me during my chief resident year, we will miss you when you go to Vanderbilt next year, but I look forward to visiting you in Nashville.
No doubt.
Dr. Ramazar, who's not here, is head of our outpatient clinic. He's the most practical physician I've ever met, and whenever I've had a difficult and urgent clinical case and I pick up the phone and I call him, I know that a solution is close at hand. And so thank you, Dr. Ramazar. My parents are here tonight, and I love you guys so much. One of the most well-known commandments in the Torah, in fact, it's one of the 10 commandments, is to honor your mother and father. And that's a difficult commandment to fulfill, and by having you guys here tonight, and by being honored by the Staff and Alumni Association, I feel like at least I'm moving a little bit towards fulfilling that. And thank you for being such wonderful guys. Last and definitely most, I need to thank my wife, Shira. Shira, we've been married for 5 years. You've been such a steadfast support. You have a great sense of humor. In addition to being a wonderful attorney, you're just an incredible mother to our son, Ellie. You take care of both your boys so well, and thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for this honor.
That's a hard act to follow. You can see why we all think so highly of Howie. It's Mutual Admiration Society. Okay, on to our next honoree, Carol.